I just finished replaying Hollow Knight for the 5th time in 2026, and I still think it's one of the most underrated masterpieces in gaming. Not underrated in a sense that people don't know about it. Over 15 million people have played it. But underrated in the sense that people don't talk about it enough, especially now that Hollow Knight Silksong just dropped last year and blew everyone's minds. Here's the thing. The original game from 2017 didn't just define what an indie Metroidvania could be, it basically reset the entire genre. It said hand-drawn animation, interconnected world design, and relentless boss fights. That's the standard now. And 9 years later, in 2026, it's still standing shoulder to shoulder with anything modern studios are putting out. Today, I'm going to tell you why Hollow Knight isn't just worth playing, it's essential. Hollow Knight launched in February 2017 as a PC exclusive, then came to Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One in 2018. It was developed by Team Cherry, an Australian indie studio of 3 people. Yes, 3, who crowdfunded it through Kickstarter and raised over 57,000 Australian dollars. For context, that's not a lot of money by game development standards. Most AAA games cost between $50 million and $200 million. Team Cherry made a 50-plus hour Metroidvania with jaw-dropping art direction, multiple endings, and boss fights that rival Dark Souls, with the budget of a single pizza party. The game sold 3 million copies in the first 2 months. By 2025, it had hit 15 million copies sold. Last September, when Hollow Knight Silksong finally released, after 6 years of zero communication, which became a meme unto itself, it sold 7 million copies in the first 3 days. In December 2025, Team Cherry announced a free expansion called Sea of Sorrow coming in 2026. The original Hollow Knight also got a Nintendo Switch 2 edition in February 2026, completely free for anyone who already owned it. This game has been supported with 4 free DLC packs, countless community mods, speedrunning records that break regularly, and a fan base that's somehow gotten more passionate with time. We're 9 years out from release, and people are still discovering secrets. That's the Hollow Knight effect. The story of Hollow Knight is told almost entirely through exploration and environmental design. You play as the Knight, a silent insectoid warrior with 0 personality but somehow maximum charm, who arrives in Dirtmouth, a small town on the edge of the fallen kingdom of Hallownest. The lore, which you piece together through NPC dialogue, item descriptions, and hidden memories, goes like this. Hallownest was once a thriving kingdom ruled by the Pale King, a godlike being who transformed from an ancient worm into a smaller form. He granted sapience to all the bugs in the kingdom, effectively uplifting them from mindlessness to civilization. Everyone worshipped him. Everything was perfect, until the Radiance, an ancient moth deity that the bugs had abandoned for the Pale King, tried to reclaim her followers. She started appearing in their dreams, poisoning their minds with an infection that drove them to madness. To contain the infection, the Pale King created the Vessels, beings made from the void itself, designed to be hollow, empty, and incorruptible. He chose one vessel, the Hollow Knight, to contain the radiance forever within itself. But there was a flaw in the plan. The Hollow Knight wasn't pure. It had a will, identity, and purpose. So the infection slowly leaked out anyway, and the kingdom fell into ruin. You're another vessel who somehow escaped the abyss. Your mission is to descend into the depths of Hallownest, find 3 beings called the Dreamers who are protecting the seal on the Temple of the Black Egg, defeat them, and open the door. What comes next depends entirely on what you choose to do. The game has multiple endings, each radically different based on your actions. Some endings suggest you might be doomed. Others suggest hope. Some are completely ambiguous. The game never explains which is correct. Hollow Knight's gameplay is deceptively simple on the surface, but becomes incredibly nuanced the deeper you go. You move left and right, jump, dash, and slash with your nail, a sword made of hardened chitin. That's it. No combos, no chains, just simple, precise melee combat. But here's where the genius happens. Combat is all about timing and positioning. When you hit an enemy, you're knocked back slightly. This sounds annoying until you realize you can use this knockback strategically. You can pogo off enemies by jumping above them and slashing downward, bouncing repeatedly. You can manipulate space using your momentum. Against bosses, you're learning their patterns, reading their tells, and striking when there's a window. It's very much inspired by Dark Souls, but 2D and faster. The soul mechanic is crucial. You build soul by hitting enemies. Holding B spends that soul to heal yourself. It's slow, you're vulnerable while healing, so you can't just spam it. You have to be deliberate. Do I heal now, or do I wait for a safer moment? This creates tension in every fight. Then you've got the charm system, which is where your build diversity comes in. Throughout the world, you collect charms, equipable items that modify your abilities. Some increase damage, some grant health, some let you summon companions to fight with you. Each charm costs notches, and you have a limited number of notches. You could be over-charmed, exceed your limit, and get all the benefits but take double damage. It's high risk, high reward, and it's brilliant game design because it never fundamentally changes the core gameplay loop. You're still doing the same thing, you're just modifying how you do it. As you progress, you unlock new abilities: wall jump, double jump, dash, spells like Fireball and Desolate Dive. These abilities aren't just mechanical upgrades, they're keys that unlock new areas. An ability you get in the Royal Waterways opens up paths in the Ancient Basin. The map design, the map design is absolutely interconnected. This isn't like Elden Ring's open world where you can see everything from a distance. This is like the original Metroid or Dark Souls where you gradually unlock shortcuts and realize, oh, that door I passed 3 hours ago, I can open it now. Hollow Knight's boss design is where it transcends being a good game and becomes a masterpiece. Bosses like Hornet, Umu, and the Abyss Shriek are encounters that demand respect, pattern recognition, and mechanical skill. But the real highlight bosses, the ones that stick with you, are things like the Absolute Radiance, Hollow Knight himself, and Nightmare King Grim. Nightmare King Grim is a DLC boss from the Grim Troop update. He's this twisted, demonic version of a circus master, and the fight is absolutely relentless. Most of his fight is him flying around, teleporting, summoning fireballs, and you're just dodging and hitting when you can. It's a dance, pure skill. When you finally beat him after 50 attempts, it's euphoria. The Absolute Radiance is the true final boss for one of the endings. You're fighting the source of the infection itself, a primordial light entity. The fight is 3 phases, each ramping up the difficulty. By phase 3, the screen is filled with attacks, and you're just trying to survive. It's hard. Honestly, it's arguably the hardest boss From Software ever made, and they didn't even design it. Team Cherry did on an indie budget. Now, the difficulty is intentionally punishing. You lose Geo, the game's currency, when you die, and you have to find a shade version of yourself to reclaim it. If you die again before finding the shade, you lose the Geo forever. Some people find this frustrating. Some people love it because it adds stakes. The game doesn't hold your hand. Tutorials are minimal. You're expected to figure things out. That's part of the charm. Hollow Knight received 4 free DLC packs, which is insane for an indie game. Hidden Dreams in August 2017 added new bosses and a fast travel system. The Grim Troop in October 2017 added an entire questline with Troop Master Grim, including 2 difficulty modes of his fight. Lifeblood in April 2018 brought balance changes and new bosses. Godmaster in August 2018 was the massive final update. It added Godhome, a completely new realm where you fight pantheons of bosses back-to-back in permadeath mode. If you die once, your entire run resets. All of this was free. Team Cherry just decided to keep supporting the game because they loved it. The Godmaster GLC alone is probably worth $10 to $15 if it were sold separately. The community speedrunning scene is absolutely thriving around the base game and these DLC additions. Now, Silksong released in September 2025 and is a full sequel, not DLC. It stars Hornet, the NPC from the original game, and takes place in a new kingdom called Farloom. It sold 7 million copies in its first weekend. The game is significantly more polished than the original, with better controls, faster movement, and new mechanics like the bind system for healing and a tool system instead of charms. If you played Hollow Knight and loved it, Silksong is essential. In December 2025, Team Cherry announced a free expansion for Silksong called Sea of Sorrow coming in 2026, so even now the franchise is getting support. Is Hollow Knight worth playing in 2026? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes. It's one of the best games ever made. Not the best Metroidvania, Silksong might be better now, but one of the best games in any genre, any era. If you haven't played it, play it. It's like $7 to $10 on sale, regularly. If you love Metroidvanias, if you love challenging games, if you love beautiful art, if you love games that trust you to figure things out, Hollow Knight is essential. The only reason not to play Hollow Knight is if you absolutely despise difficult games and you need constant handholding. If you can tolerate a challenge and you're willing to learn patterns, you'll be fine. The game isn't unfair. It just requires patience and practice. In 2026, with the Switch 2 edition out, with Silksong showing us what Team Cherry learned, with the modding community still active, with speedrunners still finding new strategies, Hollow Knight is somehow more relevant than it's ever been. It proved that an indie team of 3 people could make something that competes with AAA productions. It proved that Metroidvanias could still be special, and it proved that beautiful games don't need to be technically impressive, they just need to have soul, which Hollow Knight has in spades. Thanks for watching. If you're thinking about jumping into Hollow Nest for the first time, let me know in the comments which area you're most excited to explore. For me, it's always the Kingdom's Edge. Like this video if you somehow haven't played Hollow Knight yet, subscribe for more reviews of games that'll either make you cry or make you rage, sometimes both. And I'll see you next time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go fight Tier Vessel for the millionth time.